All right, we did. We went live. Here we are. We're ready to go. It is the world famous Go Show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Happy Saturday to you. We're gonna do a couple things here. We got a lot going on, so a lot to cover. So play along in the comments if you will. And again, if I put my old man glasses on, then I will be chatting with you live. And I have a funny story, but not really a funny story. It's kind of a cringy story about one of the shows I did this week. So let's go. First thing that you're gonna notice is look at what. Yeah, how about that? The new logo is been that is actually water cut. It is metal and it is amazing and awesome. A little shiny for the video, so I think intern Nugent and I are going to do a little modification on that this probably this weekend at some point, probably today. So we're gonna make that happen. And thank you for playing along with us. We celebrate all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of a world that we live in. And it's a wonderful, wonderful time of year. It is in Arizona. If you're following along from out of the country, sure, worldwide, out of the state. This is Arizona. I'm based in Arizona, where we have spring training. So half of Major League Baseball is in Florida, and the other half is right here in Phoenix, Arizona. And we have 10 stadiums, we have 20 teams, and it is too much fun. This getting out there. They're intimate stadiums, they're small stadiums. It is really cool to get out and just spend some time. The weather has been participating wonderfully. We are in the high 70s, as highs, sunny, sometimes a few wispy clouds in the sky. It is definitely and decidedly what that geo behind me stands for, is getting outdoors and celebrating the great outdoors and just sitting on the lawn. Lawn seats are fabulous. What happened to lawn seats? Well, they used to be $8. Now I'm getting old, and back in my day, those things were $8. Like $60 now. Yeah, so Major League Baseball is definitely cashing in on the popularity of Arizona, but a really cool thing to the Valley. So we have an influx of people coming in. Majority of them are from California and Chicago, but it's okay. Their money spends just like everyone else's. So we thank you for coming out to the Valley. We thank you for participating in spring training. And if you're not participating in spring training, you're a baseball freak like I am. I love me some baseball. There's the Major League MLB package that they do actual broadcasts of the spring training game. So fear not. We are able to watch baseball whenever the heck we want, and baseball is back and is fantastic. So definitely get out there if you got a chance to do it, make it happen. Get out to spring training and enjoy some baseball, some sun, and some outdoors, and some vitamin D, won't you? Yes. Another thing we got going on, pardon me. Another thing we got going on is we are going to go to multiple shows throughout the week. I know. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's as exciting to me as it is to you. The actual days and times will be announced this week. So we are going to have just some fun. We're going to jump on live stream, couple topics, chat it up. If something amazing happens, we'll come on randomly as well. So this is a grassroots kind of campaign, as we are no longer on terrestrial radio. So this is streaming and fun. So play along. And thank you so much for playing along. All right, let's get to this. Big question here in Arizona and states around the nation that have a draw system. So for those that do not know, Arizona is on a draw system, and our draw is for our big game. So our elk, our pronghorn, our sheep, our bison, our deer, it's all on a draw system. So we apply for the draw, and we get to just sit and wait. Here's how it works. Go online and you put in your $13 for the option, for the chance to be drawn for a elk tag or a deer tag, and all the species I named there. We have a big 10 actually here in Arizona. And then you wait, and you're not notified that you were drawn for elk or drawn for deer. You're not notified at all. They just hit your credit card with the cost of the tag, which reminds me, I should write this down. Send Tequila Jim tag money, because I got drawn. So we'll get to that in a moment. But here is the rub of it all. People start asking each other, "Hey, did your card get hit? Did your card get it?" And frantically, it's you grab your phone and you start to did I get drawn? Did I get drawn? My card didn't get it. Or my card got hit, and instantly you take to all your friends, you're texting them the screenshot of your credit card that was hit, and you're so excited. Never in any other part of our society, in any other part of our world, is so many people so excited to have a random charge on their credit card that they really have limited details for. You essentially know what the credit card hit is for, you just don't really understand. Excuse me. You really don't understand what unit you're in, and really what you got hit for, unless it's a big expense. You're like, oh, I think I just drew a bison tag for the first time in forever ever. So here's what we're doing. And if you could bear with me for just a moment before I get back into this, because it seems to be that our stream is not happening right now. So I am yeah, so just kind of making sure that the stream is up and running, and it is. So thank you very much for playing along. If you got drawn, what's next? So if you did get that hit in your credit card, I actually got drawn for bull elk. I'm blown away. I can't believe it happened 2 times within a decade. Usually here in Arizona, it takes a hot minute. So you are, every year that you don't get drawn, you get one more bonus point, and that gets you better odds next time for the draw. Then you don't get drawn again. Then now you have 2 bonus points and the better odds the next time, and so on and so forth. Some people will team up like we did, and it works out. So it worked out going bull elk hunting. So if you got drawn for deer, Slavo got drawn for pronghorn. How about that? Pronghorn archery. So that is very, very exciting for him. I know I'll be at least out on some of those scouting adventures with him in SlavoSalt.com, baby. Get over to SlavoSalt.com. The very, very best in rubs, seasonings. Get over there and you're going to enjoy it. I'm sorry, I'm a little verklempt in my Kalevnikov's link here. Hold on. Let me get that on here with my basic white guy Stanley. So here we go. Yeah, so he got hit, and we're going to get out there. So get over to SlavoSalt.com and use the code GOSHOW. You're going to get 15% off your order. It is hands down the best seasoning in the world. So Slavo got drawn, and he's a big outdoorsman, contributes to the North American model, big conservationist. We love us some Slavo. So people got hit. So now what do you do? So a couple of things. Immediately, I want you to download every hunting app you can possibly find. Here in Arizona, so you know if you're outside, here in Arizona, hunting is different. If you've moved here from out in the Midwest, you have to relearn how to hunt. If you're watching us from the Midwest, this is a whole different ballgame here. So when we say we were drawn for elk, or we were drawn for deer, or we're drawn for pronghorn, whatever it is, scouting has to happen. We have to put in time. You have to put in effort, or essentially you're just going to go camping with guns. You're going to have a lot of cool fireside chats, a lot of cool campfire drinks and some food, and you're going to have a great time with your buddies. But you probably aren't going to harvest an animal, period. So the work has to go in. So when that comes in scouting, that comes into apps, if you don't want to pay for an app, use like Google Earth and things like that, and get to your unit and really find the right spots where you want to be and start scouting as soon as possible. That is the first thing. But then the debate happens, because I already know what I'm doing. I already have my next steps. And so I'm going to get a lot of heat for this. So just hear me out here. Basically, the option is, once you get drawn, you think to yourself, you're like, guide or not to guide? I got a buddy who knows the unit well. Perfect. That is a form of guide. So let's just take the stigma away. If anyone out here, I don't have the stigma of the word guide, but a lot of people are concerned about the word guide because they think it's cheating, or that's not really hunting. No, that's not really the case. And hear me out here. I got a buddy who knows the unit I was drawn in really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enlist that buddy to really help me out. That's guiding. This is really guiding. If you want to pay for a guide service, then, which I most likely will be doing, then you go that route. It's the same thing as having a buddy who's hunted that unit before. It's a really, I think it's advantageous for several reasons. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Because there are purists out there that say, no. If you aren't out there for 16 days at a time, and you aren't out there, pre-scouting for days on end, and then when the season hits, you don't know where you're going to be, you're not hunting. Well, okay, that's fine. I'm a 48-year-old father of 2. I've got a job and stuff to do. This is my show. This is my job. It's not as easy as you think. It just really isn't as easy as you think, getting out there and scouting. So, one of the best things I can think of, the best reasons to get a guide or a friend that knows the unit is education. So if I get up there and I love the unit, I find success, I keep applying for the draw in that unit, I am going to basically need to be an expert. So I'm going to need to, if that's where I'm going to hunt, that's what I need to be the expert. I don't have 40 years ahead of me to wait to get drawn maybe 3 or 4 more times, maybe 5 more times, to become an expert of that unit. A guide is an education, whether it's a fishing guide on one of the maybe the chain lakes or maybe out here Lake Pleasant. I'm a West Side guy. It, it's an education. You pay for a lesson. It's the same as learning how to golf. You pay for a couple of lessons, you get the vibe down, and then you can go golf if you want. You can take more lessons, you can get better, however you want to do it. There's zero difference in paying for a golf pro or a tennis pro than there is in paying for a guide. There's just no difference. And maybe getting lessons for your kids when they start in t-ball and they're getting out of t-ball into baseball. Maybe you get a couple lessons. That's the same thing, the exact same thing as hiring a guide. Now, Mike, it's expensive. I know it is. So outside of having a buddy help you out, I understand it's expensive. I understand. But listen, we are putting so much time, effort, and resources into our hunt that why not do a little more pre-planning financially for that, for a better result, chance at a better result. And so what I have done in the past is simply put money aside each paycheck, just a little bit, just a little, not a lot, not something that's going to completely break you, and then get to a certain point. Now, let's say you get to whatever point you set your goals. And then you think, okay, I don't need a guide. I don't need a fully outfitted guide. I don't need somebody holding my hand. I don't need somebody out there in the field with me. So what do? Maybe I can get a scouting package. If you know what a scouting package is, the outfitter will pre-scout for you and then drop some pins for you. This is where we've seen good action. This is where we've seen good activity. Good luck on your hunt. Enjoy. And it is a substantial amount less than you would normally pay for having somebody out there with you. So those decisions get to be made. See, there's a lot more to hiring a guide than you think. It's very advantageous to you. It's very good for you. It's a good thing to learn. It's an education. You're paying for a lesson essentially in that area, in that unit. And there's neighboring and adjacent units too that pretty much the same habitat, pretty much the same patterns. So you're basically becoming a pro in that area. Now, if you want to go full boat, fine. Save for it, make it happen. But here's what I'd have you do. If you decide to go a guide route, this is what I would have you do. I would have you interview several outfitters, several. And I mean, interview. Look, they're not begging for you. I mean, they're not just sitting around like, oh yes, I'm definitely going to have a full ticket, a full docket this year. And I don't need to talk to anybody. That's not how these people work. They want your business. They would love your business. So if you call and say, hey, I have a couple questions. I'm looking at some reviews online. I want to really know how you guys stand out. And interview them. Don't just ask them the success rate. Ask them. There's an outfitter out here, and I want to say the name, but if I get it wrong, I'm going to be a total bozo. So I'm not going to say the name of the outfitter. Apparently, the owner has a 100% success rate on over-the-counter archery tags. That's worth the money, right? Okay, so you stop the interview. Yeah, stop taking calls. We have a winner. This is the guide we're going with. Interview your outfitters. Don't just take the first one you call, and ask around, ask your friends. Go online, get on social media, get on Facebook, and say, or any of the social sites or any of the forums, and ask the questions. Hey guys, I want to know who has had any experience with this outfitter, who XYZ, and then take your notes, take copious notes, and then compile which outfitter you want to go with. And I mean, get just like putting in for the draw, get 3 options in, because that first option might not be around. That first option might be the best in the state, and they only have 3 guides. So when those 3 guides are booked on your hunt, okay, good, I'm going to go to the next one. and get yourself confident. Maybe if you're not confident that you had to drop down from first option to second option, then look into that scouting package that I talked about. See? Yeah. Uh-huh. So that's definitely what I'm looking into. I'm saving immediately because I don't know the exact unit I'm in. I know pretty much it's one of two, and in one of them I have no idea. No, one of them I've never been to. Never been to Seven West. Never been. So what am I going to do? Yeah, exactly. Not gonna just. I'm gonna buy a small place in Seven West and live there until hunting season. Yeah, that's pretty much the way to go. How about no? What if you didn't get drawn? Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm your host, Mike Russell. This is the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of a state and a world that we live in. Go ahead and play along if you want to in the comment section, Facebook, YouTube, and X. I'm getting used to saying it. So Twitter, X. That's where we are. So what if you didn't get drawn? And oh, I was doing a show this week, and I'm not going to throw his name out there. I was doing a show this week, and a good fan of the show chimed in and said, "Hey, when are credit cards going to get hit?" And I'm like, "Intern Beans, you want to get in here and break it to him?" Ooh, yeah. I just say, buddy, they already were hit. So mine was hit, and we got a tag. So if yours weren't hit, then most likely you have not got drawn. You did not get drawn this year, and that's a big thing in Arizona. It's kind of heart wrenching. It's like, was so excited for it. I thought I had a good vibe. I thought this was going to be the year that I get an elk tag or a deer tag, whatever it was. And I just didn't get it. There's things to do. Let's take notes then, because there are several opportunities. One of the best opportunities around are over-the-counter tags, because there are tags that that the Game and Fish has that they use for over-the-counter. Probably the easiest group to get is if you're in the elk world is cow archery. And no, not cow like cattle. Cow is a mama deer. I mean, a mama elk. So that you over the counter cow archery tags are the easiest to get, and look, they don't have a super high success rate. But going back to now, you got a tag, and now you can talk about looking into some of those scouting packages and really tuning in your archery game in the backyard or at one of the cool archery joints around the valley and the ranges around the valley. So over the counter tags are a fantastic idea. Here's another idea. If you didn't get drawn, and I love you, God bless you. I feel so lucky and blessed that I actually got drawn. I'm not trying to rub this in. What I'm saying is just if you didn't get drawn, I have some ideas for you. So stay tight, because I know how that feels. I know that feeling. So the second option is to look into a ranch. Look at like Blue Rooster up there, and maybe you just want meat in the freezer. That's what you want, and you want to maybe just get like a feral hog or something like that, and a cool outing out hunting, and you got a freezer full of meat, and life is good. And here's what you can do with that. So let's say you do go to a hunting ranch, and you go to you get yourself a harvested pig, and now you have a buddy who harvested an elk. I see a barter in your future. That's right. Because they would probably love good pork. So why don't you just say, hey, listen, I'll trade you this for this, this for this, this for this. And now boom. Now you both got freezers with variety. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, there are really cool ideas and things to do outside of getting a tag, because most likely someone has a tag. So hook up with them. This is one of the best things to do if you didn't get drawn. Connect with them. You can reach out to them and say, hey, listen, heard you got drawn, would love to help you on your hunt. Would love to go up scouting with you. Would love to maybe be on your hunt, help you out in any way. Here's essentially my guide fee, right? Here's what I want. If I could I'll help out with the processing, and hopefully I get to share in the harvest with you. There's zero wrong with that, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So, and by the way, you still get to hunt, you still get to go to camp, and you get to have fun, right? Um, Hold on a second here. So I had to reply back there. So there is an option for also. Wait, where was I? I'm sorry, I got completely thrown off. That's right. Yeah. But split the harvest with a buddy. Go get a harvest at a ranch and then start to mix and barter and look around and things and fill your freezers that way. It's a fantastic way to just move past the I didn't get drawn. I didn't get drawn, and it bums me out that people. I wish this was like the Midwest. Midwest is absolutely crazy. You can go deer hunting like all the time during deer season. So in the state of Missouri, I'll just use it as an example, has about 900,000 head of deer before the season, about 600,000 after. That's a lot of deer going. Next year, they have 900,000. That's the North American model of wildlife conservation at its finest. You can buy doe tags for like $7 at Walmart. And I believe it's up to like, it's several. It's in the double digits that you can get. So, it's absolutely wild what you can do. You can also say you have a buddy out of state like that. You know, a buddy out of state that has several tags. Why don't you go out hunting with a buddy out of state, and then boom, there you go. You bring the meat back, and you're all good. So many ways for you to fill the freezer if you didn't get drawn. So we'll be talking about that throughout this process, especially the process of me interviewing different outfitters. And by the way, please comment along in the section here. I'll probably be in 6B or 7 West. If you have any guides that you've used in the past, share your experiences, good or bad. Maybe any outfitters that you've used or you can recommend. I would love for your recommendations, and I thank you for playing along with that. It greatly helps. Now, the last thing I would say, if you didn't get drawn for a tag, is turn your attention now, because the weather is beautiful out here in Arizona. Start turning your attention to let's get prepped. Let's get prepped for a good fishing season. Let's get prepped for some of the 365 day a year hunting opportunities we have here in Arizona, like Eurasian dove and things like that. Start planning some hunts that you can rabbit. Start planning some hunts where you can really make an effort for something totally fun this year, something completely new that also fills your freezer. So you can turn your attention to fishing. You can turn your attention to alternative hunts, and just there is hope. Fear not, there is hope. We'll all get through this together. And I think the best option, if you didn't get drawn, is to find someone that did, and let's help them with their hunt and team up. How about that? Thanks for hanging out with us. This is the Go Show, again, celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of the world that we live in. An article that I saw was mortifying to me this week. And if you've known, we've done this for 11 years. This is our 11th year. And some of the articles that I found over the years have just been so cringy and so awful. And it's not, obviously there's the poaching articles that are completely cringy. But I'm talking about those that are writing for our outdoor world that have no real idea, or they have an agenda, what we do, or they have an agenda that's not exactly positive of what we do. Okay. I don't know if the article was from Outdoor Life, but it was posted on their site as a conversation. And the question was horrific. It really was. And it sounds funny when I read it, but just bear with me here. Bear with me. I'm gonna get the actual headline, so I don't. You misquoted the headline. I know I misquote headlines all the time. It just is part and parcel to what we do. This is so wild to me. Is Joe Rogan bad for hunting? For those of you that don't know, Joe Rogan, yes, the comedian Joe Rogan, the guy from Fear Factor, and the Southern California folks like me, you'll know him from K-Rock. It is a amazing story that Joe Rogan started a podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, and it is the #1 podcast in the galaxy by far. And I have to tell you, it doesn't really move along very quickly. It's about a 2-3 hour podcast. It is absolutely it's a commitment. It's still the #1 podcast there is. So the question was, is Joe Rogan bad for hunting? Because he is an avid archer. He is an avid archery hunter. And the question was so absurd to me that I had to talk about it, because the article was about Joe Rogan's ability to afford going hunting on private property. not really afford. It's his celebrity. It's easy if you're Joe Rogan to knock on a farmer's door and say, "Hi, I'm Joe Rogan. I got my bow here. I've got a tag. Can I hunt your property?" Pretty easy. Not a lot of people, I think, would turn Joe Rogan down. So Joe Rogan gets to hunt private ranches. He gets to hunt hunting preserves. He gets to hunt private property. He gets to go with Steve Rinella from Meat Eater. He gets to go to Hawaii ranches in Hawaii where he can afford to stay at the dang Four Seasons and go there. Yeah, yeah. So there is a way for him to do what he wants to do. He can afford that. He signed $100 million contract with Spotify. The dude's got resources. So why is this bad for hunting? This is an absolutely asinine question. Of course, Joe Rogan is good for hunting. Joe Rogan actually is amazing for hunting. Amazing. Last week, we talked about some restaurateurs and small business owners that I know that don't talk about their hunting, don't talk about their love of what we do, don't discuss the North American model of wildlife conservation. They don't. They just hide it because they're afraid of what their patrons would think. They're afraid of losing business. They're afraid of getting canceled. So they don't say anything. Joe Rogan is nowhere near there. Joe Rogan says something. See something, say something. Joe Rogan says something. Joe Rogan is a advocate and a ambassador to what we do. He is reaching an audience of millions and promoting the hunting opportunities in this nation in the right way. He's not one of those that you see on TV. If it's brown, it's down. If it flies, it dies. Nothing like that. Joe Rogan comes from a conservation heart. He knows the community he's in. He speaks intelligently about his sport. He speaks calmly and rationally. He brings fact. He has no problem challenging and being challenged. Joe Rogan is exactly what our sport needs. Is Joe Rogan bad for hunting? That might be the most asinine question I've heard in a hot minute. Joe Rogan, just in his reach alone, is great for the sport, period. Is great for the North American model. How many people have bought bows and arrows, which contribute to the North American model of wildlife conservation, the Pittman Robertson funds? How many bows and arrows have been purchased just because Joe Rogan does it? Thousands. How much has gone to conservation just because Joe Rogan has introduced just the thought of hunting or maybe even the shooting sports to people? Thousands. Joe Rogan he has the reach, and I think he has the demeanor. One of the coolest things I've heard Joe Rogan have a conversation, I believe it was the comedian Russell Brand. Russell Brand is not a fan of hunting by any stretch. And good morning, guys. Eddie, how you doing? Daniel, good to see you. It is yeah, it was Russell Brand. Russell Brand was anti-hunting, but not in an anti-evil way. It's just, how can you kill an elk? How can you kill a deer? How can you go out with a bow and do what you do? And I learned more from Joe Rogan's answers than I have from reading several articles, studies, the background of the North American model of wildlife conservation. I learned more from Joe Rogan's answers. And it was interesting because in a nutshell, it was, you understand that an elk or a deer, they don't go to hospice when they die. That a bird in nature doesn't just kind of lean up against the little perch that they've had their nest on and look at the sunset. It was a good life. It's not how it happens. The vast majority of animals in the wild are eaten alive. And so nature is brutal. If you want to understand what I say, and if you've got a strong stomach for it, if you have a weak stomach, don't go there. But there's an Instagram handle that I follow that it's called Nature is Metal. Just like metal, just like our sign, our new logo sign. Just to check it out. Yeah. Pretty dang cool, right? So I want to thank Pro 2 Customs for setting that up. They outsourced it, and it's just beautiful. Nugent are going to do some work on it. But Nature is Metal. It shows how brutal animals are to animals. So if we are what we are, top of the food chain, we are the animals, and we go out and harvest our own animal proteins, it is, I would say, I would argue, and it'd be hard to talk me off of this. It would be difficult for you to tell me otherwise that I would rather go by the hands of a hunter than being eaten by a pack of whatever. I was walking, and this is Joe Rogan saying this, and it was absolutely life changing for me in my apologetics for what we do, in my support for what we do, in my ambassadorship for the North American model. It was life changing. And so when I was walking to the gym one day, back when I went to the gym, um, I heard this rustling around in a tree, and a hawk basically floats down from the tree onto the ground, and he has a dove in his talons. Dove's still alive. Dove's flapping around. Help me. The hawk looks at me. I'm reaching for my phone to see if I can. I'm a good boy. I was walking without staring at my phone. I pull my phone out, and right about when I get a picture, it takes off. A car drives by and it takes off. And I watch this hawk leave with this dove in its talons. And that dove, I don't think has any illusion. It's about to get eaten. And that hawk definitely has no illusion. This is my breakfast. And that animal, that dove, that beautiful, cute little dove, is now going to be eaten alive in the tree that I just saw the hawk land. It's going to get eaten alive. So when a dove is taken at the hands of my 20 gauge, old Django, that is probably a more humane way to go than being eaten alive. It's hard for you to talk me off that. And I got that kind of attitude, that look, not really that attitude, that view, that angle from Joe Rogan. So again, tell me where Joe Rogan is bad for hunting. This is just an asinine thought. It really, really is. When he does that, when he talks that way, he's speaking rationally. And to Russell Brand was soaking that up like a sponge, as were his millions and millions of listeners and followers. That's wonderful for our sport. That is and by the way, that changed the way I look at things after decades of hunting. Could you imagine if somebody's like, "Oh, I can't believe hunters do that. They kill." Oh, yeah. When that seed is planted, he is so good. And by the way, let me tell you this. Another reason why Joe Rogan is not bad for hunting. It's the dumbest article ever. The reason why he is great for hunting and amazing for hunting, because he walks the walk. He puts the time in. He is a student of his craft. Now, I'm going to out a lot of us here. I really am, because we do not put in the time we need to for successful harvest. We don't. We rarely put in the physical time to exercise and get our bodies in peak shape to actually go head to head, toe to toe on a away game on their home court for some of the most advanced evaders in the world in elk and deer. They're not extinct for a reason. They know how to evade predators. We become the predator, and we're not in good shape. We're not in the shape to take them on. We don't put in the time. We don't. And above that, we don't put in the range time. Whether it's archery range, whether it's firearm range, we don't put in the time. Most of the time, right before, you can always tell. You go out to Ben Avery shooting range, you go to Rio Salado, you can actually tell, or Joe Foss, you can actually tell when hunting season is, because everyone out there is sighting in their rifles the day or two before they take off to their hunt. It wasn't a month or two. It was a day or two. So we don't put in the time. Going back to Joe Rogan slings about 70 to 100 arrows a day. Every day. The reason why I want to go on Slavo's pronghorn hunt is because he slings about 50 dang arrows a day. He's one of the best archers I've ever seen. He's probably one of the best natural archers I've ever seen. So I want to go on that hunt and see it. So I know there's going to be success, or there's a high, if we see a pronghorn get in range, Slavo's going to have that thing down, because he practices and puts in the time. He walks the walk. Joe Rogan is getting slighted in this article because he has the resources for private hunts. He has the resources to hunt private ranches. He has the resources and basically the star power to knock on a door and hunt private land, because no one's going to say no to Joe Rogan, especially, yeah, sure, hunt my land. That'd be great. Hey, hi, everybody. Millions of people out there. Yeah, of course. But it's not, it's not that he leans back on that and goes, okay, if I don't get it this time, I'm going to go to the next ranch. I don't have to practice. Joe Rogan puts in the time. So Joe Rogan, hands down, is amazing for our sport. He is a treasure for our sport. I love that he's connected with Steve Rinella because Steve Rinella is amazing for our sport. He is a treasure for our sport. There are so many boneheads out there that have a camera in front of them, that have TV time, that are awful for our sport. Joe Rogan and Steve Rinella and those types of personalities in our outdoor world, guess what? They're going to save our outdoor world, period. And I hope I get to one day I'll be mentioned in the same breath as those two that have helped so much for conservation and to expand really the reach of the reach of knowledge for everybody out there. All right. Last week, and thanks for hanging out with us. This is the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of a state, a nation, and a world that we live in. Just get out and play. The GO stands for Get Outdoors, Go Outdoors. Just get outside, make it happen. Last week, we had the Arizona Celebrity Wing Shoot, which was fantastic. Please get over to social media sites. If you're on there, go ahead and check out the videos. Absolutely a blast of a time. Now, I am the vice president of Wildlife for Tomorrow. Wildlife for Tomorrow is the 501c3 fundraising arm, the money pal, essentially, for your Arizona Game and Fish Department. Now, hold on. Before you start, Game and Fish, I didn't get drawn. It's a scam. It's this. No, it's not. Okay. Oh, okay. They have enough money. They've taken enough of my money. They don't get $1 from the general fund, just so we're very clear in that. Not $1 from the Arizona General Tax Fund, and that is the same in all 50 states. They don't get money from that. They get money from tag applications, tags, fines, fees, and Pittman Robertson funds, which come from purchases of firearms, ammunition, and outdoor products. Okay? Even that falls short sometimes. So an organization like ours, Wildlife for Tomorrow, puts on a few events a year, raises some money, and then we put that money towards what is short in the game and fish coffers. If they need money for a kids camp, or they need money for a whatever it is, or restoration, whatever it is, we get to fund that. A project, maybe it's a camera, it's a bird watching, whatever it is. We get to help fund that. So we do several events a year, and one of those is the Arizona Celebrity Wing Shoot, which was great. Governor Ducey was out there. Some commissioners were out there. We just had a lot of fun out at Desert Creek Sportsman's Club. Tony put on a good spread for us. It was a bunch of fun. Here's the deal. I want to be very clear in this. There's one video that shows proof positive that I am the best drone slayer there is. I'm not going to say I'm the best drone shooter. I'll leave that for someone else to say. I kid. We got to play with Nat Warfare. Nat Warfare is so much fun. This is a shotgun shooting line with drone targets. Big airplane drone targets that basically show to you as it comes through the line. And it has exploding targets on the bottom. Pop, 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 pop. And the reason why I can say, A, it's super hard to do. It's super hard to shoot. And B, there was a video. Our videographer, Paul, got this. It was absolutely fantastic, for me at least, of Commissioner Marsha Petrie Sue. She's explaining how she's basically giving shotgunning advice and saying the best way to hit these drones on video. And as she wraps it up and talks about the lead and whatnot in the swing, Paul pans over to my team shooting on the Nat Warfare. Right as it pans to it, pop, I hit one. And I'm like, okay, there you go. What else do you need? Do you need more proof? Yeah, than I am? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not going to mention the Scholastic clay shooter that was beside me. Yeah, Jasmine. Shout out to Jasmine. Good job. Jasmine probably hit it, but she was just standing next to me, and no one can tell me. You can't prove that she hit it. Can't prove that it wasn't me. I'm going to say it was me. Yeah, but we had a great time. Do not miss it next year. We do this every year. Please get over to wildlifefortomorrow.org. Check it out. When we announce the dates, sign up for our newsletter. When we announce the dates or any updates, we'll get that information out there to you, and you can get a team together and get out there and have fun. Above Nat Warfare, it just wasn't Nat Warfare. We had guided hunts out in the field, and these are pheasant hunts. I got to tell you, I saw something. A big shout out to Dakota, one of the coolest GSPs, German short hair pointers that I've ever hunted behind. And I've hunted behind Django. We're actually on Django's field. Big shout out to Tony and Amy for naming that field Django's favorite field after Django after he passed. So we're on Django's field. So I'm thinking I'm basically hunting on the field named after probably the coolest hunting dog. One of the most, he was a savant. One of the most talented, naturally talented hunting dogs I've ever been behind. And here comes Dakota. Like, you got some big shoes to fill there. Let's go. Let's go make it happen. What an amazing dog. Period. What an amazing, amazing hunter. Holy cow. He was thorough. He was in shape. He was just on it. And then something happened that I've never seen. See, the field borders a canal. It's out in the farmlands. It basically, there's a big running, very active, very fast-moving canal. A bird was hit and sailed over the canal. A German short hair pointer, mind you. Didn't care. Went down, got in the water, crossed the canal, went over to the other side, retrieved the bird, came back, and was just kind of stuck, not really knowing where to go, kind of finding a good spot to get back up on the other side of the bank. And we're down trying to grab him. And he's just calm and cool and collected, got the bird in his mouth, just a German short hair. I'm not talking about a lab. I'm talking about a German short hair, just calm, casual, just swimming with it, just staying with the current. So he's just kind of staying in one spot. The German short hairs that I have had in my life can't swim for anything. Boba, God love him. Boba sinks like a lead balloon. Like, you might as well throw an anvil in the water, just sinks to the bottom. I didn't even try to swim. Django, who I mentioned, just slaps the top of the water and starts yelping and barking and trying to eat the droplets that are splashing in front of him. He would have drowned doing that. Here comes Dakota. Yeah. Big shout out and big thank you to Quail Forever for bringing their guides out, and just some amazing dogs, some really, really cool dogs we got to see out there. So it was just a ton of fun, and do not miss this event. And if you just are feeling charitable, if you want to support a really good organization, wildlifefortomorrow.org, we would love for your generosity to help us out in our endeavors to help your Arizona Game and Fish Department manage 820 plus species of wildlife. It's absolutely crazy. Let me get you this update as we wrap up, and thank you so much for hanging out. We're going to get you your comments in just a moment. Let me get this piece of goodness that I just came across. Ready for this? Good news, right? We want to know some good news. So here we go. SRP's 6 reservoirs on the Salt River and Verde River are collectively at 84% full. Boom. See, we're optimists here. 84% full instead of 16%, right? 84% full. That's 4% higher than a year ago. The largest reservoir in the system, that's Rosie Lake, is 87% full. And they're expecting a good spring for snowmelt runoff that we have in those giant storms that we have up in Flagstaff in northern Arizona. How about that? I'm telling you, it's like Jeff Goldblum says, nature will find a way. It will. So as tough it is to be in a drought-like conditions and water here, it's really good to see that our reservoirs are filling up and getting back to their prominence. Now, that does not mean that we as a state should be doing what we're doing with water and groundwater. It's absolutely atrocious. It's been atrocious for years, and it's almost reaching critical mass. So inform yourself, educate yourself, and do the best to swaswa. Did I just catch someone off there? Did I just say swaswa? I did. Save water and save water again. Did you ever have that person come to your school? Save water and save water again. Swaswa. I don't know why my girlfriend is the only 2 people in the world that remember swaswa. I got to ask my sister. Maybe she'll remember it. I don't know if it was here in California that we had that. It had to have been here. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, swaswa. But that's good news. All right, let's get the old man glasses on before we wrap it up here and send you off to your wonderful, beautiful weekend out there. Oh, Eddie, it's okay. Eddie, don't worry. We're going to have, you're going to be able to find this on social media right here on Facebook. So we're just going to stop it and it's done and you can watch the video. I did give some decent tips on what to do if you weren't drawn. So yeah, gotcha. I'm glad you found us. Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate it. And good morning to you, Daniel. Yeah. And it's so Eddie brings up, and I'm just going to I guess I said I wasn't going to say your name, but I just did it. Sorry, Eddie. You be all right. Don't worry about it. Still no action on the card. Good news is that he got to hunt 3 times last year. All right. So maybe take off a scale a little more. Okay. Or if you look at a few of the options I listed out for us, I think you're going to find that. You're definitely you're gonna check it out. Yeah. And then oh, there she is. I thought Becky would be very happy about my water update. So points. That's all we need, boys. Points. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for thinking of us this morning, for stopping on the scroll as you went and say what's going on. And again, well, check out that logo. Isn't that cool? Yeah, very excited about that. Stay tuned on social media. We're going to make a couple announcements for some more shows throughout the week, and more topics and more fun things that we got going on right here on the Go Show. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe out there, and stay hydrated. My gosh, guys, please stay hydrated. The heat is starting to ramp up your bodies. Water. I know. I'm going to keep preaching it. All right. Have a great weekend, everyone.